Hello everyone, I'm Nidhi Chandorkar. Today we are going to learn about conflict. We all know that there are different types of conflict. It can be within an individual, it can be between two individuals, it can be within a group, it can be between two groups. Let us understand what is conflict altogether. Conflict is a natural disagreement arising between two or more people or within oneself. It exists between people when they have incompatible goals and believe that behavior of other prevent them from their own goal achievement. There are different levels of conflicts. Individual level conflict can be of two types, intra-individual level and inter-individual level conflict. Group level conflict can be of intergroup and intergroup conflict. Organizational conflict can be of intra-organizational and inter-organizational level conflict. Hence, there are various different levels of conflict. It can be intrapersonal, interpersonal, intragroup, intergroup. Let us understand intrapersonal conflict. It occurs within an individual and usually involves some form of goal, cognitive or affective conflict. It involves making decision, facing dilemmas, etc. It may have an impact on other levels of conflict. There are four major types of intrapersonal conflicts. The first one is approach. This happens generally when you have alternative courses of action and all of them are equally good. Avoidance conflict. It generally happens when the alternative course of actions which you are thinking of taking up both have negative consequences. Approach avoidance conflict. It is basically you like something, there are some positive aspects of it also, and you are unable to take it up because of there are some negative effects also. It can be multiple approach, multiple avoidance conflict. This happens when each alternative course of action has some positive outcome and some negative outcome. The second level is interpersonal conflict. This occurs when two or more individuals perceive that their attitudes, behavior, and goals are at opposition. The features are this generally happens due to difference in matter or perception towards a particular thing, or both the individuals are having opposing interest, belief that interest of one is harming others. It can happen as a part of social behavior also. Intra-group conflict, it refers to the dispute among some or all group members, which often affects the group dynamics and effectiveness. It may sometimes lead to better decision making also. Intergroup conflict, it refers to opposition, disagreement, and disputes between groups and teams. Under high level of competition and conflict, parties develop negative attitude towards each other that are characterized by distrust, rigidity, and self interest. Next is intra and inter organizational conflict. Intra organizational conflict arises due to structure and distribution of resources, overlapping authorities. These are these may be enduring till these organizational factors are changed. Inter-organizational conflict arises when organizations have to share and hence compete for some same industrial resources, consumers, buyers, and suppliers or employees. Let us examine some of the causes of organizational conflict. The first one is line and staff competition. Line employees are the ones who are designing or planning, and the staff are basically the ones who are executing. So many a times there's a competition between both of them, and hence, generally, if a particular task fails, they try to pass buck on each other, and when the task is successful, they try to own the credit. It can be because of task interdependence. It can be because of personality clashes within a group or within an organization. It can be because of sharing of limited but scarce resources. It can be because of mismanaged communication. Sometimes under communication, over communication, or miscommunication can lead to conflict. It can be because of overlapping authority. That is, the same set of people are commanded by two different authorities. Overlapping responsibilities, inappropriate reward systems in the organization, and incompatible goals within the organization. Now let us examine 5 styles of managing conflict, which are also known as resolving the conflicts. First is known as competing style. It represents win-lose approach. That means by force, one party try to dominate or coerce other so that the party wins. It is suitable when the emergencies require quick action. So some people have to let go their own interest. It is unpopular measure to be taken for long-term interest of the organization. When the group cannot agree on one thing, then one has to let go his or her own interest. The second one is accommodating style. It's also known as lose-win approach. The submission to wishes of others. Now, this generally can happen if the relationships are more important than the outcome of conflict. It may lead to potentially explosive situation. Therefore, to smooth it, we actually go for lose-win approach. It it is for maintaining harmony. Is adopted when it is maintaining harmony is at most important. Next is the most desirable one, that is the win-win approach. This is basically to maximize the joint result. An organization using this approach tends to see that the conflict is natural, helpful, and positive. They exhibit trust on each other. This approach leads to maximum commitment. The next one is compromising approach, which is also known as win some, lose some approach. The approach used is give and take and use a series of concession. It gives partial satisfaction, but it is suitable in the situations when some gain is better than nothing at all. Achieving a win-win is impossible. Then suitable in situations where the two parties are stuck or they are not ready to move. Then avoiding style, generally it is not a positive one. It refers to an unassertive and uncooperative behavior. It is a lose-lose approach. It may be adopted if there is no solution and let the conflict itself lead to its way out. It generally is not good for organization, but has to be adopted in situations like issue is minor, doesn't deserve to one's time and efforts. Or sometimes more time and preparation is required to deal with this issue. As we see, the most positive way or the best way of dealing with conflict is collaborative, where you get, the goals are achieved as well as the relationship is maintained. And the most negative way is avoidance. The benefits of conflict are it stimulates change in the organization, it brings analytical thinking, sometimes it helps us in identifying the weaknesses, it may lead to group cohesion due to better understanding, though it poses challenge, but it leads to better decision making and it brings innovation. The disadvantages of conflict in the organization are it increases employee turnover, it increases tension in the organization, it increases dissatisfaction, it spoils interpersonal relation, and it weakens the organization or team. It increases stress at individual levels. With that, we end with conflict. Thank you very much.